The hotel lobby buzzed with the usual morning rush, guests checking out, new arrivals dragging their suitcases, and staff moving around busily. Antonia adjusted her uniform and hurried past the front desk toward the staff room, where Anita and Sophia were already chatting and giggling. "See how Mr. Johnson couldn't take his eyes off me yesterday," Anita bragged, swaying her hips. Sophia laughed. "It's your shape. These days, men love a woman with full calves." As Antonia walked in, their eyes fell on her. "Oh, Antonia, you still haven't changed?" Anita asked, adjusting her uniform in front of the small mirror. "See, as your dress is just straight like broomstick." Sophia chuckled, swaying her curvy hips. "Leave her alone. Maybe she likes it like that. Or maybe she thinks one day, a miracle will happen." Antonia ignored them and focused on fixing her supplies. She wasn't in the mood to argue. It wasn't like they were entirely wrong. She was slim, and no matter what she ate, her body remained the same. She often laughed along when they joked, pretending it didn't bother her. But deep inside, it did. It wasn't just about their words, it was about how different their experiences were. Guests always smiled at Anita and Sophia, complimenting their figures and handing them extra tips. Some of the male guests even went out of their way to flirt with them. But when it came to Antonia, she was just another worker, easily overlooked, hardly noticed. She told herself it didn't matter. But every time she saw how her friends were treated, a small part of her wished she had what they had. Days passed, and the teasing continued. One afternoon, as they sat outside the staff room during their break, Anita stretched her legs and glanced at Antonia. "Antonia, you never think of trying something small. Just to add small shape." Antonia frowned. "What do you mean?" "You know," Sophia said, lowering her voice. "There are things people use. Special creams, herbs and..." Antonia shook her head quickly. "I'm fine like this." Anita and Sophia exchanged glances and burst into laughter. "She said she's fine," Anita mimicked, wiping tears from her eyes. "Okay then, just don't complain when we start leaving you behind." Antonia kept quiet. She had nothing to say. A month later, the teasing stopped, but not because Anita and Sophia had grown tired of it. It was because of Rachel. Rachel was the newest staff member, and from the moment she stepped into the hotel, she had everyone's attention. She wasn't just curvy, she was stunning, with a confidence that made people turn their heads. Even Anita and Sophia, who rarely admitted that another woman was finer than them, had to acknowledge her beauty. "She's so pretty," Sophia whispered one afternoon. Anita nodded. "And that curves. Oh my God. I need to know her secret." Antonia had expected Rachel to join Anita and Sophia in their teasing, but instead, she was different. She was friendly, always smiling, always trying to start conversations. At first, Antonia avoided her. She didn't want any trouble. She was already struggling with Anita and Sophia's jokes, she didn't need another person adding to it. But Rachel was persistent. "Why are you always running away from me?" Rachel asked one afternoon as they arranged towels in the guest rooms. Antonia hesitated. "I'm not running." Rachel smiled. "Then let's be friends." Antonia wasn't sure at first, but Rachel was different from the others. She never teased her about her size or made her feel less. Slowly, Antonia found herself opening up. They started hanging out during lunch breaks, gisting, and even working together whenever they could. Rachel was fun, confident, and full of life. And for the first time in a long while, Antonia felt like she had a real friend. Then, one evening, as they sat outside the staff quarters, Rachel leaned in and smiled. "Antonia," she said, "do you ever think about making a little change?" Antonia frowned. "Change?" Rachel smirked. "Your body. I can help you." Antonia shifted uncomfortably on the wooden bench. "My body," she repeated, eyeing Rachel with uncertainty. Rachel nodded, smiling. Yes. I know how it feels to want more. Antonia frowned. I never said I wanted more. Rachel chuckled. You don't have to say it. I see the way you look at Anita and Sophia when they get all the attention. And I see how you shrink whenever they tease you. She leaned closer. You don't have to stay like this forever. There's a way to get the body you want. Antonia remained silent. A part of her wanted to dismiss the conversation, but another part, the part that secretly wished for more, was curious. Rachel pulled a small bottle from her bag and placed it on the bench between them. The liquid inside was dark brown, thick, and unfamiliar. This is what I use, Rachel said proudly. It's a herbal blend. Natural. Safe. It enhances your body shape, but in a way that looks completely natural. Antonia stared at the bottle. And it works. Rachel smirked. Look at me. Antonia had to admit, Rachel's body was flawless, curvy, full in all the right places. Not exaggerated, not artificial. Just perfect. Still, something didn't sit right. I don't know, Antonia murmured. Rachel sighed, tucking the bottle back into her bag. I get it. You're scared. But think about it. No rush. She stood up, adjusting her uniform. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. That night, Antonia couldn't sleep. Rachel's words played in her head over and over again. What if it really worked? What if, just maybe, she could finally stop being invisible? For days, she wrestled with the idea, but the more she thought about it, the more tempting it became. Then, one afternoon, after another shift of being ignored while Anita and Sophia received compliments and tips from guests, she made her decision. That evening, she found Rachel behind the staff quarters and took a deep breath. I want it, Antonia said. Rachel smiled knowingly. I knew you would. Rachel gave her specific instructions. Take only half a cupful once a week, she warned. It works fast, so don't overdo it. Antonia followed the instructions carefully at first. Within just 2 weeks, she noticed changes. Her hips widened slightly, her waist became more defined, and her clothes fit differently. By the end of the month, the transformation was undeniable. The compliments started coming in. Antonia, you look amazing. See curves. This your new body is giving. Even the hotel guests noticed. Some of them gave her bigger tips, and others smiled at her in ways they never did before. Antonia soaked in the attention, walking with newfound confidence. Her uniform clung to her body perfectly, and she no longer felt invisible next to Anita and Sophia. One evening, as she folded fresh towels in the linen room, Rachel leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. You're looking good, Rachel said, her voice unreadable. Antonia smirked. I know. Rachel walked in and picked up one of the neatly folded towels. But you're taking too much. Antonia stilled. You're supposed to take half a cupful once a week, Rachel continued. Be honest with me, how often are you drinking it? Antonia hesitated, then forced a laugh. Relax, Rachel. I only increased it a little. Rachel raised a brow. How much? Antonia looked away, pretending to fix a towel. Twice a week, maybe 3 times. Rachel let out a deep sigh and dropped the towel. That's too much. Listen, you've gotten what you wanted now, right? You look great. Now it's time to slow down. Just take the maintenance dose, half a cup every week. That's all you need to stay like this. Antonia nodded quickly. Of course. I was already thinking about that. Rachel studied her for a moment, then gave a small nod. Good. Because if you overdo it, you won't like the result. Antonia forced a smile as Rachel walked away. But deep down, she wasn't planning to stop. She had come this far. She wouldn't risk shrinking back. So instead of reducing her intake, she took even more. If twice a week had given her this body, then 4 times a week would make her even better. At first, the results were thrilling. She became even curvier, her body shaping into something even Anita and Sophia envied. One morning, Rachel met Antonia at the cafeteria. She watched as Antonia stirred her drink absent-mindedly. The dim light of the staff cafeteria cast shadows on her face, highlighting how much fuller her cheeks had become. "Antonia," Rachel said, breaking the long silence. "You need to stop taking that stuff." "Why?" Antonia asked. "I said stop taking it," Rachel repeated firmly. Antonia scoffed. "Oh, so now you're concerned." She leaned back in her seat, folding her arms. "You were the one who gave it to me. Now you're telling me to stop." Rachel sighed, shaking her head. "I told you to take only half a cupful once a week. But you got greedy, Antonia. Look at yourself." Antonia's smile faltered. "You look bloated," Rachel continued. "Your body isn't shaping anymore. You're swelling. If you don't stop now, it will get worse." Antonia scoffed, looking away. "You're just jealous. You don't want me to be finer than you." Rachel rolled her eyes. "Jealous? Please. I'm telling you the truth." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "This is not an ordinary herbal drink, Antonia. There's a balance. If you keep forcing it, the consequences will be—" "I don't care," Antonia snapped. "I'm not going back to my old body. Do you hear me? Never." Rachel stared at her for a long time, then sighed in defeat. "All right." She adjusted her uniform and turned to leave. "Don't say I didn't warn you." Antonia watched her go, feeling a strange mix of fear and defiance. Rachel didn't understand. She wasn't like her friends anymore. She was finally desirable, finally noticed. She wasn't about to let that go. So, she continued taking the herbs. But after some months, things started going wrong. The first sign was the exhaustion. At first, Antonia thought she was just tired from work. But the heaviness in her legs didn't go away. It got worse. Her feet ached. Her joints burned. Walking up the stairs to the staff quarters felt like climbing a mountain. Her uniform, once flattering, became unbearably tight. The waistband dug into her skin. Her arms felt heavy, her face rounder than ever. The manager sent her home one day, telling her to return when she was better. "Antonia, are you okay?" one of her coworkers asked one morning as she struggled to fit into her work skirt. "I'm fine," she snapped, yanking at the fabric. But she wasn't fine. At night, she lay awake, feeling strange pains shoot through her body. Her skin itched. Her stomach bloated. Then, the whispers and side talks began. "She's getting too big. What's wrong with her? She used to be so pretty." Antonia ignored them. She had to. She convinced herself that everything was fine. The whispers didn't matter. The stares didn't bother her. But when she caught her reflection in the mirror, she froze. Her once perfect curves had turned into something unnatural. Her thighs were massive, her belly protruding strangely. Her arms sagged, her skin darkening in patches. Her friends stopped teasing her, they were now avoiding her. Even Anita and Sophia, who once admired her transformation, refused to talk to her anymore. And Rachel disappeared. She didn't come to work. She didn't answer calls. It was as if she had never existed. One morning, as she tried to climb the stairs, her legs refused to carry her weight. A sharp pain stabbed at her chest, and her breath came in ragged gasps. Then before she knew it, she collapsed. Her co-workers found her after about an hour and quickly rushed her to the hospital. The hospital was a blur. Doctors hovered around her, speaking in hushed voices. Needles pierced her skin. Machines beeped endlessly. The side effects of the herbal drink she took were too much. And then, after some time, her body began to deform. Her legs swelled grotesquely. She couldn't walk anymore. She was bedridden. News spread. Have you heard? Hotel girl who used the herbal thing. She can't even stand up now. Her body is ruined. The same people who once admired her transformation now pitied her. Antonia lay there, unable to move. Helpless. Hollow. She wished she listened to Rachel's warnings. She just wanted to be beautiful. But now, she was barely recognizable. Her confidence, her glow, her friends, gone. And Rachel, the only one who might have helped her, had also vanished. No one even came to visit her. Only nurses passed by, exchanging sad glances and silent sympathy. She had traded everything for a body she could no longer live in. And now, all she had left was regret. Be careful what you crave. Obsession with appearance can come at a dangerous cost. Balance is key, and shortcuts can lead to permanent damage. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next twist.